What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. In this video, I want to be recapping the New York Giants offseason moves and making a record prediction for the Giants in the upcoming 2022 season, which is just a couple of weeks away. So this past season, the Giants were 4-13. They fired Joe Judge after 2 seasons of being 10-23 in 2 years with New York. They bring in Brian Daboll, who's been the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and he has been a big reason for Josh Allen's development these past couple of seasons. When you look at the Giants this past season, they were injured, it seems like, the whole year. Daniel Jones started 11 games for the Giants. He was 4-7 as a starter. He had 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. His completion percentage was 64%. He threw for over 2,400 yards. And then when you look at guys who kind of took Daniel Jones' place when he was hurt, Mike Glennon, he was really bad. Jake Fromm, he was really bad. Once Daniel Jones got down, it was for the season, it was pretty much over for the Giants just because, they had so many injuries. Look at Saquon Barkley in 13 games. He had nearly 600 rushing yards, also 2 touchdowns as well. He also had over 40 receptions for over 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. When you look at this, receiver group here for the New York Giants, Evan Ingram was their leading receiver last year with 46 receptions, but he is no longer on the team because he signed a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when you look at their, reception list here for the Giants, it does not speak volumes to how many injuries they had this season. It's really insane. Saquon Barkley was second on the team with receptions, and Devontae Booker was third. So when you look at the Giants, leading reception leaders last year, their second and third players who had the most receptions last year were running backs. That should not happen, especially when you look at these, wide receivers that the Giants have. They drafted Kadarius Toney last year from Florida. He showed some promise. In 10 games, he had 39 receptions for over 400 yards. Kenny Golladay, his first year with the New York Giants, he had 37 receptions and over 500 yards. Sterling Shepard in 7 games for the Giants. He was able to manage over 30 receptions, over 300 yards, and a touchdown. But you're only able to get 1 touchdown of those 3 guys. That is not good for the Giants at all. When you look at this, receiver group here for the Giants, Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, and Sterling Shepard missed a combined of 20 games last season. And add the fact that Daniel Jones missed 6 games, it's not a surprise the Giants' record was not good last year. No team is going to be able to be really good when their starting quarterback is hurt and their star receivers are hurt as well. When you look at this Giants defense, it was kind of led by Xavier McKinney. He had 5 interceptions this past year for the New York Giants. Following him was James Bradberry with 4 interceptions, but he signed a 1-year contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. Then after him, they had Tay Crowder with 2 interceptions. He actually had over 100 tackles this past season for the New York Giants. It shows some promise there. He had 6 passes deflected as well. When you look at this Giants team, they had some nice, promising players. Like I mentioned, Xavier McKinney is a young safety in the league, 5 interceptions this past season. Also look at guys like Azeez Ojulari, 8 sacks last year as a rookie, coming out of Georgia. Leonard Williams, 6.5 sacks last year. There's some promise, for this Giants team. Ojulari, Xavier McKinney, 2 young players who I think have a lot of potential for this new Giants team. But, they only had 1 player get more than 7 sacks last season for the New York Giants. And to me, their defense was kind of inconsistent at times, and their offense, like I already mentioned, was just very bad because with the injuries, they don't have a good offensive line. And I feel like, in the offseason, they really addressed that. They drafted Kayvon Thibodeau. They drafted Evan Neal to, really bolster this offensive line and really help this, edge group for the New York Giants. They also drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, which to me is very interesting because he reminds me so much of Kadarius Toney. I don't know how they're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in their offense, but I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out. And also something I think is kind of flying under the radar a little bit. They signed quarterback Tyrod Taylor, this past season. Tyrod Taylor has familiarity with Brian Daboll. He has spent time in Buffalo at the same time Daboll was with the Bills. So he already kind of knows the offense and the system and everything like that. Daniel Jones plays really, really bad, or maybe Daniel Jones gets hurt again. Maybe Tyrod Taylor can go in and, play good for the Giants. It's always nice having a quarterback who already kind of knows your system. And I think Tyrod Taylor is definitely a quarterback capable of leading this Giants team if Daniel Jones were to get injured again. And looking at this Giants team, to me, it is very, very interesting to kind of predict their win and loss record this upcoming season because they kind of showed some promise at times last season, but it's kind of hard to dictate what their record will be this year with a new head coach. And they had so many players injured last year. But my record prediction for the Giants, one thing to kind of look at this year, I always have a surprise victory and I always have a upset loss. So let's say the Giants, I have them beating a team like the Eagles, but then the next game they lose to the Lions or something like that. It always happens in the NFL. Look at the Bengals, for example, last season. The Bengals, beat the Chiefs, Steelers, and Ravens twice, but they lost to the Jets and Bears. It makes absolutely no sense. It always happens in the NFL. My record prediction for the New York Giants is 5-12. My wins that I have for New York Giants this season, I have them beating the Dallas Cowboys, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. I have them beating the Houston Texans, Washington Commanders, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I have them losing to the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, at the Green Bay Packers, against the Baltimore Ravens, against the Seattle Seahawks, against the Lions, at Dallas, at Washington, at Minnesota, against the Indianapolis Colts, and at the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, there's a couple of games in there. I think they're capable of winning, but you don't know how Daniel Jones is going to perform coming off an injury. You don't know how some of these wide receivers are going to perform coming off an injury as well, especially coming in, with a new head coach, learning a completely new system and offense and everything like that. But this Giants team is very interesting, like I said. I wouldn't be surprised if they got maybe more than that, maybe 7 wins, something like that. My ceiling for the New York Giants is 9-8. I think if everything goes right, Daniel Jones is healthy, he can play good. I think this Giants team is capable of maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 wins this upcoming season. My floor for them is 4-13. There's no reason the Giants should have anything less than 4 wins this upcoming season, because even though they had the injury bug, they had 4 wins last season, so they should still be able to at least get that, because they have a better roster this year compared to last year. And if you have these guys coming back an injury, they should be better compared to last season, which would be very interesting to see how the New York Giants for this upcoming season. Like I said, my record prediction for the New York Giants this upcoming season is 5-12. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know how many wins you think the Giants will get this upcoming season. That about does it for this video. If you're new to the channel or if you've seen my videos before, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hein Show.